I'm really honored to be part of your ceremony and to be part of your action here for the trees. And I think 20 minutes, 30 minutes, not the whole book, but I think let's first explain what trees really are. When we talk about trees, we always talk about how much oxygen they produce for us, how much timber they produce, how they purify water. But in my opinion, perhaps trees don't care. Let's think, trees are there since 300 million years. Mankind, it's a new update, 300,000 years. And foresters since 300 years. So most part of their evolutionary history, trees were on their own, and they did a great job without disturbance. Perhaps the biggest misunderstandings comes from the different time frame. The electrical system, electrical signals in trees travel as slow as maximum speed, the one centimeter per second. And in our body, it's 2 milliseconds from the feet to the brain. At minimum, in my case, perhaps you're a little faster. So,
Is the tree comfortable in the smoke?
I think so, yeah. It's healthy smoke. Yeah, I think a tree is some thousand times slower than we, and that's the reason why many people regard trees as something like mossy stone. Or yeah, for example, when you look at trees now, what are they doing now? Huh? Pardon? Nothing. No. No. They are awaking now from winter sleep. In the last summer, they produce a lot of sugar, like a bear with its fat under the skin, and so the trees stored sugar for the winter sleep. And when trees sleep, they don't do nothing. We think so. Okay, they're standing like furniture, and okay, perhaps now, yeah, that's it. They are sleeping. They are sleeping, and what you don't think is that they are not producing oxygen. At minimum, broadleaf trees, because they don't have any leaves. But they are still alive, so they are burning sugar in their cells. So they breathe oxygen in and CO2 out. That's about the healthy air in the forest. Yeah, because they are still alive. And what else they are doing while they are sleeping, we don't know. We don't know if they are dreaming. But what we know, that's research from the University of Bonn in Germany, that in the root tips there are brain-like structures. And there are brain-like processes going on. And that's a guess from a Polish forest scientist. He said perhaps all those root tips are working together like a cloud system. Because scientists were searching where the memory of a tree is. We know, for example, that apple trees are able to count. And that's research from the University of Bochum. They found out that apple trees, because they are very, very careful, they count the warm days in March above 20 degrees Celsius. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit. Does anyone? 68? Yeah, let's say 68. I'm not sure if it is exactly that here. 68. Yeah, because we always think in steps of 10, because we have 10 fingers. Trees have no fingers, so I don't know if they count exactly. Perhaps it is 19 degrees and 68 in Fahrenheit. I don't know. Yeah, apple trees can count those warm days because they don't want to come out too early with their blossoms or leaves, because it always may become a late harsh frost and destroy the blossoms and the leaves, and so they wait until the real spring comes. And trees are not really sure when real spring comes, so they count. And when they are able to count, it's sure that they have to have something like a memory, because otherwise they would count every day 1. And that's not perfect. And they're counting now, also here in your region, because I think that are European apple trees. I think so. Am I right? There were no apple trees before. Yeah, so that's yeah, they are very slow, but they have a mind. They can count. They can also learn. For example, when they suffer from a heavy drought, then they change their water management from the next spring on, and for the rest of their lifetime. And they can even give their memories. They pass them to their seedlings, so that the seedlings don't have to learn everything new. But the problem is when you clear cut a forest, yeah, then you have something like a children forest without teachers. Yeah, so it's better than no forest, okay, but it would be best to leave the teachers. And yeah, that's I appreciate your words about learning the whole lifetime, because German foresters, for example, they say we know everything about the forest. We don't need to have reservations, protected areas, because it's nonsense. We know everything, and the forest without foresters becomes unhealthy. Yeah, that's what they tell the German people, that they have to care for the forest by cutting trees. So yeah, you laugh. You're not a German forester. Just to say, I am a German forester, but I'm still learning. So I think the main topic is resilience of forest ecosystems, and a forest is very strong. For example, a tree knows instinctively, I'm not a forest. Yeah, that sounds simple, but for many people it's a problem to realize that. Yeah, because yeah, let's stay at foresters. The foresters say we have to thin a forest so that the trees get more space. Yeah, it's like let's say it like this, like thinning a family by cutting the parents so that the children have more place to grow. It's not a good idea, I think. So yeah, but that's many people believe that in Germany or in Europe. Perhaps here people are better educated. I don't know. Especially at this place. No, in reality, trees want to stay close together. For example, in summertime, they sweat together, like we do. Okay, sweating together in a human society, perhaps, it depends on if it's a nice smell, but I don't know. But for trees, they love it, because they can cool down. And in times of climate change, a healthy forest is able to handle rising temperatures, but just a healthy forest. And when we thin a forest to gain wood, because we say the using of timber, the using of wood is carbon neutral, which is absolutely nonsense. Yeah, it's like burning coal. But the forest industry say, that's carbon neutral. Let's cut trees, so it's good for the climate. We say no. You have to leave the trees in the forest, and they do their job very good. They cool down together. A managed forest, in comparison to a untouched forest, the average temperature difference in summertime is 3 degrees. And if you have, in our region, we don't have coniferous forests, and the coniferous forests are as much as 10 degrees warmer than a natural beech tree forest in our region. So a forest is very strong, and a forest can rebuild itself without help. There's one problem for us nowadays. When we make environmental protection things, then in the first step, that's for us. It's not for nature. Nature doesn't have any problems. It's just a case of time. For example, the next ice age. Perhaps the next ice age will even reach San Francisco. We don't know. And afterwards, there will be new forests, but without us. So the main problem is to keep the environmental things for us nowadays. Therefore, it's good to plant forest, because we don't have time to lose. Because otherwise, it would take, in Germany, we estimate that it will take up to 500 years when you do nothing to regain primeval forests. I don't know how long it will take here, but I think it will be nearly the same, or even longer. When I think about how old the oldest trees are, I think around about 1,000 years. So you can estimate that you will at minimum need one generation of trees. That means 1,000 years at this place to have a new forest. So the forests are very strong. As soon as you leave them on their own, they will recover very fast in tree speed. Yeah. But we want to see efforts, which is good because it's a good motivation. Therefore, it's good to have days like this today and to start planting new trees. Those planted trees, it's the first generation, like pioneers. Those pioneers, in this case, just to say, they have damaged root tips. Yeah, that's not nice to hear, but I don't know how to. It would be better to seed them, the trees, but it's a problem to restore forests because you don't know where the trees are. And but the trees with the damaged root tips, they are not able to connect with each other, so they are loners in the first generation. But they are very important because they are pioneers for the second generation. And the second generation is able to connect with the old trees. So they just have to wait, let's say 50 years, 100 years, that's nothing. Because when you think about that, the childhood of a tree lasts as long as 200 to 300 years, just this childhood. So he's in the kindergarten when the next generation comes and connects, so it's just 100 years to wait. And it's good to plant it now, even if it has damaged root tips, damaged branch structures, which doesn't mean that this tree is not intelligent. Because we don't know where the real memory of a tree, the real mind, if it has a mind, is. And just to say another thing, it's a new research also from Germany, University of Bonn. They sedated plants. And we say, okay, sedate? What should that mean? Then all electrical signals go down, like when you are in hospital. And when these chemicals are gone, then the tree, wakes up. But to wake, you have to be conscious. And that's the question the New York Times reporter asked this professor. Are plants conscious? And he said, give the best answer you can give, I don't know. And we don't hear very often those answers from scientists. They say plants are not able to, instead of saying I don't know. That would be the best answer, because it has been researched so far, but there is a reaction of a sedation process, so there has to be something like this. And when we know that the trees are able to count and that they have a memory and that they care actively for their offspring, they connect with their roots and they are able to discover whether a seedling is its own or from another tree. With their own seedlings, they connect and they put their activity down when it's going to be dry, so that the seedling has enough water, just for their own seedlings. So there is a family structure, and they are very social. They support each other without condition. But, in the book I describe an old stump which is at last 400 or 500 years old, without any green leaf, and still living, still burning sugar in its cells. Why? The explanation, and it's researched and detected, that the other trees, they grow together with the roots, with the old stump, support it with a sugar solution. But why? We have learned that trees are competing for space, for sunlight, for water. No, that's capitalism. And trees are not that stupid. Trees want to have a healthy life, perhaps a happy life. They want to become very old, and that is just possible by working together, without condition. What we see nowadays in the human society, we have had better times, and I think there will come better times. Therefore, I'm very happy that I am able to be part of your action today, because in Germany we heard all the news, mainly from Washington, and but I know that California has strong communities with strong people. They are still working on, and they don't care about what some people telling and what some people are doing. But to come back to the trees won't do that. They have time, they care for each other, there is no competition between trees of one species. And the fungi network and the underground It takes care also that when there are strong species, that the weaker species also gets something from the sugar, so they bring sugar to weak trees of other species, so that the forest will be enriched with many different trees and will be a very stable system. And the only thing which trees don't like is people with chainsaws. so as long as you're using trees like you described it in a very carefully way, the forest will be not damaged, and humans are part of the forest. Nowadays, we always think that humans are something like a disease for the planet. No, that's crazy. We are part of the nature, and as long as we use it in a way which doesn't disturb this ecosystem, it's okay to be there, to be part of it, and to use and to live and to eat and to drink and whatsoever, but not just for the growth of economy. And nowadays, I think we have reached a point where we see what will happen to us, not to the forest. The forest will come back. Always remember, it takes time, but they will come back. But perhaps if we use forest too much, if we make more and more clear cuts, as I have seen by flying to San Francisco, which is really very, very sad, we are destroying our home. That's our home, the forest. Yeah, look at the fire. It was really interesting. When you light the fire, all people are looking in the fire. And that's by instinct. Because fire is home. And fire you can't make without wood. So the woods are our home. And when we're destroying our home, we are homeless. I think no one wants to be that. And therefore, to come to the end, I'm very happy to be part of restoring a new home today. Thank you.